Ever wondered who's responsible if someone fails to meet their obligations in a legal contract? That's where suretyship comes into play, acting as the unsung hero in the world of legal guarantees. Today, as we're diving into the basics of suretyship, I'll be showing you why this is powerful knowledge to have as a notary in Louisiana. Hey future notaries, welcome back to Notarized by Christy, where we make the complex world of notary practice simple and easy to understand. If you're studying for the Louisiana Notary Exam, you know how dense the material can get. But don't worry, I've got your back. Today, we're tackling the civil code concept of suretyship. It might sound complicated, but I'm here to break it down into the basics you need to know to ace your exam. So, what exactly is suretyship? In Civil Code Article 3035, it is defined as an accessory contract by which a person binds himself to a creditor to fulfill the obligation of another upon the failure of the latter to do so. In simple terms, it's a promise where one person, the surety, agrees to take on the obligation of another if they fail to meet it themselves. Think of it as a safety net for the creditor. Under Louisiana law, suretyship is considered an accessory contract. This means it always depends on a primary obligation, something like a loan, lease, or other debt. Now, let's break down a few key elements. Number 1, suretyship must be in writing. There's no wiggle room here. According to Article 3038, a verbal agreement isn't enough. This can be done through a private signature or an authentic act, but either way, it's got to be on paper. Number 2, here's a little relief for you. The creditor doesn't need to formally accept the surety's promise. As long as the surety's agreement is written, it's presumed that the creditor accepts it. That's covered in Article 3039. Number 3, remember that a suretyship can't exist without a primary obligation. This means the surety's role is to step in if, and only if, the principal debtor fails to fulfill their obligations. Without a primary obligation, the suretyship is invalid. Article 1913 talks about this relationship between principal and accessory contracts. The next thing to understand is that not all suretyships are created equal. Louisiana law breaks them down into 3 main types. Number 1, commercial suretyship. This is for situations involving commercial transactions, either by the principal or the surety themselves. Think of a business loan where a surety steps in to guarantee the repayment. Article 3042 goes into detail about when commercial suretyship applies. Number 2, legal suretyship. This one is created by law, like bonds required by a court or specific regulations. It's not something the parties create through an agreement, but rather what the law demands in certain circumstances. You'll find the details in Article 3043. Number 3, ordinary suretyship. If it's not commercial or legal, it falls under this category. Ordinary suretyships are interpreted in a way that favors the surety, meaning courts will interpret it strictly to protect the surety's interests. Article 3044 explains this. Sureties aren't just signing up for all the risks without some benefits. They have specific rights too, like the right of reimbursement and the right of subrogation. Article 3049 covers this. That means they can go after the principal debtor for what they've paid on their behalf, according to Article 3048. And here's something else. A surety can't be made to pay more than what the debtor owes. This means if the original obligation is reduced or partially paid, the surety's obligation is reduced too. So, when does a suretyship end? Article 3058 is where you'll find this explained. If the principal debt is gone, the surety's role ends too. But there's another way it can end. If the creditor releases the principal debtor or modifies the obligation without the surety's consent, that might release the surety from their obligation as well. To make it more relatable, let's talk about a couple of common examples of suretyship. One is notary bonds. Notaries in Louisiana are required to have a surety bond to protect against losses caused by their errors. This is a form of suretyship, where the bond company acts as the surety. Another example is personal guarantees. If you've ever co-signed a loan, you are acting as a surety. You're essentially promising the lender that you'll pay if the primary borrower doesn't. These are all examples of how suretyship works in everyday life. And there you have it. That's the basics of suretyship for your Louisiana Notary Exam. It's all about being that backup plan, stepping in when the primary party can't fulfill their obligations. Because understanding these can give you a big advantage on the exam. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update. And drop a comment if you have any questions. I'm here to help. See you next time on Notarized by Christy.